Hey everybody, welcome back to another season of Girl Circle TV. If you're a newbie to Girly Nation, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm your girl, Nina Babel, otherwise known as the Keep It 100 Girl on YouTube and iTunes. So I'm kicking off a new season. I'm a little late, but I got some new vids for you. First one today is how to remove a tampon without hurting. I mean, come on. Have you ever had to grin and bear it while you count to 1, 2, 3, and then you have to yank it out? Yes, I'm going there. And you know what? I'm going to share some of my own personal tampon tips and tricks. But every woman in her lifetime, we all get creeped out having to use a tampon for the first time. I mean, come on. Most of us don't even want to look down there. But relax, because shit down there doesn't look scary, right? I mean, you think of biology class, then you think of health class, and then you know what? You panic. But I want you to relax, because there's an art and a science to removing and even inserting a tampon without pain. I mean, we all have our own formula. We all learn differently. We're all shaped differently too, aren't we? But for all you pubers out there, knocking on puberty's door, first timers, veterans, come on. I want you to give some real talk about what to expect or your experience. And you know what? To make this a safe place for my Girly Nation, everybody watching this video, leave a comment below. This is what I want to know. Your first tampon story. Please don't spare any details. We want it all. TMI, baby. Tampon tip number 1. I want you to get familiar with your cha-cha. A mirror, good light, and finding that right angle, whether it's over the toilet or a bed. It makes for a good introduction. So here's my story. Personally, it was my best friend in high school, not my mother, who introduced me to a cardboard tampon. She actually placed it in my hand and she told me, figure out the rest. So I read the instructions on the box, but sheesh, I mean, that just adds more fear, especially when you talk about all that TSS thing. Tampon tip number 2, I want you guys to know your flow. Know your flow and your tampon size. I mean, we all hate that bloody feeling of Niagara Falls in our bits every month. Every time we sit up, cough, laugh, or sneeze, we're like. So I want you to know more about your flow. And really, during your cycle every month, there are certain days to use a tampon. The sizing of the tampon, it ranges, right? We have super plus, then we have super. And then we have regular, and then we have regular light. So let's walk through what a typical period week is gonna look like. So on days 1 and 2, every woman, it's our heaviest days, and you know what? Our bitchiest too. So if you are 100% tampon wearer, then naturally you're gonna gravitate to the super plus and super absorbent tampons. I mean, these are for you. These are the days that you bleed heavily and you need that extra coverage. If you're a combo girl like me, I wear a combination of tampons and pads, but I tend to leave the tampons for days 3 through 5 unless I know I'm playing a sport. And days 3 through 5, regular and regular light are really good options. But again, be familiar with your flow. Know how much your flow is and how often you need to change. Rule of thumb typically is changing your tampon every 4 hours. Tampon tip number 3, do not, I repeat, do not wear a super plus or super on day 4 and 5. These are the days pulling out a tampon, as you know, is trickier. It's trickier for this reason. Your vag is a little drier, the flow is lighter, and you're nearing the end of your cycle. Tampon tip number 4. So here's a trick. If you get your tampon stuck, and I'll admit, there's been times where I've peed, and most of the times, yeah, I forgot, but it made the whole removal 10 times easier because it just fell out or slid out. But before I forget, you don't want to use a super to super plus tampon on day 4 and 5, because you know what? Gonna feel like you're ripping out your insides. This is not a nice feeling. Think of it this way. It's almost as if someone is suction cupping that tampon right in between your vajayjay. And I'll tell you why. Your blood flow is less, so you don't need as much absorbency. Ever watch how a cork is being pulled out of a wine bottle? I rest my case. That's exactly how I feel. That slow pop and then exhale feeling. So after day 5, those are your drip drop days. And you know what? A panty liner is sufficient to manage any of those unwanted surprises. And if you get a little dry, lube up with some cocoa oil, yogurt, or even some lube. So let's talk about paper versus plastic. Tip number 5, using lube, yogurt, or coconut oil, yeah, at the end of a tampon, it's gonna help. But make sure you're not allergic to any of these things first. But I'm gonna start by saying this. Cardboard is the absolute worst. I mean, to all my eco-friendly conscious Girlies, more power to you. But the beauty of plastic in this case is that it glides. Smooth, rounded edge of the applicator, it just glides right in and out. Cardboard has no smooth, rounded edges. Trust. So next, how to insert a tampon. I mean, have you ever been in that situation where you push up those small cotton applicators out too soon? Or you have to push it back, reinsert it, and then you realize I'm out of tampons? Tampon tip number 5. Whether it's lying down, like in a sitting position with your knees up, humped over the toilet, bend down at 45 degrees. It's the first 3 seconds where if you have the slightest wrong angle, you will nip and tuck your cha-cha, especially with a cardboard applicator. Math class wasn't the only place where you learned about 60, 90, or even 180 degree angles. But it's the key to inserting a tampon. Trust me, if you don't get it, coughing out a tampon that's 3/4 of the way inside you isn't cute, especially when you're walking down the street or even up and down stairs. It hurts. First timers, this one is dedicated to you guys. Know this, being a virgin and inserting a tampon have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But let me put it another way. Inserting a tampon is not the equivalent to having sex, no matter what your mother tells you. It doesn't feel like sex, it doesn't feel like what a guy looks like, but the important thing is to relax, to practice, find a size that fits. I mean, if you're tensing up, you know what? It means that you're scared and you're uncomfortable. So if you like this video, hit the like button. You know what? Share it with your girlies and subscribe for new videos each week. I want you to drop your comments or hit me up using my handle, and that's @NinaBabel on Instagram, Snapchat, or even Twitter. Plus, you can sign up on my site for tips and tricks that I only share via email. So if you enjoyed this post, like it, share it with your friends. I mean, what about you? Are you still terrified of tampons, or do you consider yourself a pro now? Then I want you to do 2 things. Thing number 1, reply to this post or email me at askit@ninababel.com and tell me what you're struggling with right now. Even if it's something really, really small, I don't care. Don't hesitate. Thing number 2, take it to the comments and let us brainstorm together. In fact, tell me some of your favorite products. I look forward to your mother friggin' stories. That's my reel for this week. Peace.